Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you so much for joining the Demon Nick Nightmare here today for our review of SummerSlam. And we are going to talk about all of that right here and right now on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do this. Oh!
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me back on the channel. I hope you enjoyed that little intro. It was fun. It was different. I picked that shit up at the NXT show on Saturday night, and I knew for sure I was going to do something stupid. And it might not be the last time we ever see the Demon right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. I am Nick Nightmare, your host as always. This is my boy, the champ, Blue, the Snowball Microphone, World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, and I am way too excited for what I'm about to do. I'm just having a little bit of fun here at the beginning because SummerSlam was fucking ridiculous. Let's get real. Let's get very real right now. But before we get into the SummerSlam official review, I want to take this time to apologize to you guys for getting this shit up so late. But you need to understand that this has been a fucking hell of a week for me. I have been non-stop since Thursday on hunts for superstars. I attended House of Glory Friday night. I attended NXT on Saturday night. Last night, I was hanging out at 205th with the biggest names in the podcast game. We're talking about Jason Solomonster. We're talking about Justin LaBar. We're talking about Macho T and the one and only JD from New York. We were all hanging out talking wrestling. They had a Q&A. It was fucking fantastic. We had a great time. We were drinking beers. We were eating food. We were hanging out. We started watching the pre-show, which I've never watched wrestling in a bar before. It was an absolutely enlightening experience and wished that it was more available that way to the world. Because hanging out with wrestling fans in a bar, everybody's actually watching wrestling. You know, we're all talking and bullshitting and whatever, but you're not missing anything because everybody's watching the show. It was fucking great. However, the show was not great. And that's what we are here to talk about. I got home so late, much later than I anticipated, because everything got kicked off a little late thanks to public transportation being shoddy on a Sunday here in New York City. But I had to rewatch the beginning of the show, being that I missed the first 2.5 matches by the time I got home and tuned into the broadcast. And then we had such a busy morning here in the Nightmare household. I had to bring my car in the shop. I had to bring my daughter to the doctor. And now here we are, finally, to bring you our review of this fucking pay-per-view, which should not even be called SummerSlam. It should be called Summer Shame. Because it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. We're going to change that. Here we go. SummerSlam, Summer Shame. Alright? That's the name of this show. If you could have given this show a tagline, you know how you have like a subtitle to a great movie when it's really good, you know? Like Ninja Turtles Back in Time or something stupid shit like that. If you could do that to SummerSlam, you got two options. The first one is SummerSlam 2017, No Respect. Because it is very clear from watching this broadcast that the WWE has no respect for us, its fans. It has no respect for its superstars performing on their second biggest show of the year, and it certainly has no respect for championship belts or the reign of champions, because everything that happened tonight was disrespectful to wrestling in general. Everything outside of the Fatal 4-Way. We all know how good the Fatal 4-Way was, but I have an issue with the Fatal 4-Way as well, and we are going to get to that later on in this broadcast. We could also tagline it Burial Ground SummerSlam Burial Ground 2017, because we had an upwards of maybe 4 guys get absolutely buried tonight. Whether or not you feel the same way or you think what happened to these particular superstars tonight is a burial, that's your call for you personally. But I'm telling you that Shinsuke Nakamura was essentially buried. Rusev, do I even have to fucking say it? You knew it when you saw it. This guy is buried. Baron Corbin is buried. It's fucking ridiculous what I had to witness last night. These guys might not be able to come back from anything. Bray Wyatt, buried. Fucking shovels everywhere. And I don't understand it. It makes me feel like they think I'm stupid and that I don't retain information and that they can just put shit together 1 week before SummerSlam and make it awesome. And it wasn't awesome, you guys. If you are under the impression that that show was awesome based off of how high you felt off of how good the main event was, then your opinion is dramatically skewed. Dramatically skewed. Because I understand getting all overexcited because how great that was, and then you're going to leave the arena or you're going to end the show and you're going to be like, wow, that was great. You know what? SummerSlam was pretty great. Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor had a pretty good match. Was the match good? Sure, it was okay. It was good. Wasn't great. And I thought it was too short. And it did absolutely nothing but further damage the character of Bray Wyatt. How can Bray Wyatt possibly come back? This guy cannot beat anybody. It just does not compute in my brain. Do you feel like Bray Wyatt is a threat to anybody on that roster? He comes out, he starts spewing his nonsense and this and that and the spiders and the flies and the whatever. And it doesn't make any fucking sense. And then he gets inside this guy's head and then he ends up losing. So what was the point of it? What was the point of it all? Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss. An absolute travesty. And not because I'm a big mark for Alexa and I'm always talking about how much I enjoy Alexa Bliss, but the thought process behind this makes no sense. Was this the plan all along? Were you going to make Bayley beat Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam? With all her failed momentum and the way you've been booking her to be terrible? You were going to make her win? Because that's what it looks like. You made it look like you inserted Wrestler A for Wrestler B, but you didn't change the storyline. You are going to maintain that your plan was to give it to Sasha Banks all along? You're full of shit. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a goddamn shame. I don't fucking like it. The flip-flop, not the hip-hop, the hip-hop, flip-flop, flippity-flop. It's the flip-flop effect of these titles. Alexa was having a nice little reign, you know? No need to give it to Sasha Banks right now. If your whole motivation behind giving it to Sasha Banks is to turn her heel, then you're still stupid. Because Alexa Bliss is the reigning heel right now. Nobody's going to do it better than she's doing it right now. You don't need another heel in the women's division. You have plenty of them on Raw. And you should be developing them and furthering them. Sasha Banks, yeah, she's a little boring as a babyface, but playing against an evil Alexa Bliss would be much more interesting than everything else you've had her do. Her whole program with Charlotte was boring and stale, because that's all we had was Sasha and Charlotte. And now, you had a chance to get this new rivalry going. We get Alexa and Sasha, and you decide to pull the plug on that. You started it, and then you pull the plug and you put Bayley in there, and then only to pull Bayley out in the last minute. It makes no sense. What are you going to try to use this? If it's a storyline injury, are you going to try to use this into the story of turning Sasha Banks heel? That, oh, Sasha, you stepped in. But that wouldn't make sense because Bayley was the one that's being replaced. So is Bayley going to be the one that gets mad? Oh, Sasha, you stepped into my place and now you got my belt. It was my turn and then I got hurt and now you took my spot. You're supposed to be my best friend. Maybe they turn Bayley heel? No, stop it. I don't know. I don't get it at all, you guys. The Raw Tag Team title match. Absolutely fucking predictable. Everybody walked in there knowing tonight that Ambrose and Rollins were going to win. I think it would have been much more interesting if you would have had Sheamus and Cesaro find a way to come out on top and then still have some of that turmoil between Ambrose and Rollins, as one might blame the other or whatever, and then lead up to them winning the titles a little more. Give it a little more build, because you just kind of started the storyline 2 weeks ago and you expect me to fully invest myself in it. It has been the best thing on Raw. Absolutely has been. But now it's done. It's over. They're the World Tag Team Champions. Where do we go from here? It's going to make whoever they decide to turn heel, it's going to be fantastic. I think they're going to go with Ambrose. Everybody's predicting an Ambrose heel turn, that he's going to turn around and whack Seth in the back with a steel chair, much like he did years ago when they were in the Shield. And I'm all for that. I'm not against that at all. I think it'll be great. I think Ambrose will work much, much better as a heel. I think they could do much more with the Lunatic Fringe if he's a heel. So I'm not against that at all. I just think that this storyline really should have been played out a little slower across a little bit longer period of time, and not have so much combust so quickly 1 week after the other. One guy says no, one guy says yes, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we're bumping fists, but I still really don't trust you, but we're going to go do this at SummerSlam, and then they win the titles. We all knew they were winning the titles. There was no surprise about it. It was great. The crowd was into it. It was a decent match, but it was predictable. Who really cared at the end of the night? Who? Definitely not the New Day. The New Day didn't give a shit about anything because they got relegated to the pre-show with the Usos. In a match that was obviously more worthy of the SummerSlam spot than Big Cass versus Big Show. Why wasn't that on the pre-show? That was fucking garbage. Garbage. I didn't even care how annoying Enzo was being up in the cage, because everything that was happening in the ring was just like watching molasses fight a mountain. It was fucking horrible. And I fucking hated it. I hated every minute of it. I tried my hardest not to watch, but it was like a car wreck. It's like almost you couldn't look away. Like, I'm trying not to pay attention to this match, but I just couldn't help myself. And I regret it, because it was useless. Going back and watching this match after having missed it in the first place, it was like destiny. I shouldn't have went back and watched it, because fate took care of me in the right way and made me miss that match for a reason. And by missing that match, did you miss anything important at SummerSlam? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. John Cena and Baron Corbin opened up the show, which was a surprise in itself. I thought they would have put that more towards the middle. They see that as more of a big event, more of a main event of some sort. But what did we get? We didn't get Baron Corbin getting his revenge. We got Baron Corbin getting buried by the king of the burial, John Cena. He's getting the Dolph Ziggler treatment right now. He was slated to be the man, or else you wouldn't have gave him the contract. And then he goes up against Cena, and now all of a sudden, no. How does that happen? How do you think we don't see that? And if this is what you were going to do, you should have allowed him to retain the Money in the Bank, let Cena win it from him at SummerSlam, if this is what you were going to do. So this way we still have a Money in the Bank looming in the background, and you could have had John Cena cash in on Jinder Mahal at any time. The match was slow and boring and featured mostly Baron Corbin yelling at the audience. So it was just a useless segment, and it did nothing but absolutely kill every little ounce of momentum that Baron Corbin had. Killed it. He's dead. He's done. How do you come back from this? I don't understand it. Why give the SmackDown Women's Championship to Natalya? I'm going to be fair about this. Natalya is a veteran. There's no reason why on any given night she can't turn around and beat anybody. She's a member of the Hart family. She was trained in the dungeon. So for all of those reasons, I will accept this outcome. But there are 1,000,001 other reasons why I will not accept this outcome. Naomi was in the middle of a fantastic run. She was doing great things for the SmackDown Women's Championship. She blinged it out. She got the glow. She's getting it over. Everybody's into Naomi. She's got the entrance. She's been carrying herself like a champion. She's been performing like a champion. She's one of the most athletic women, if not the most athletic woman on the roster. Her moveset is great. Everything she does in the ring is very, very good. She has a lot of room for improvement and to get better, which only means she is going to be great. But you took the title away from her with no build, really, behind this Natalya feud outside of maybe 1 or 1.5 weeks. Natalya starts talking trash about how Naomi's stained the legacy of the title and she needs to take it back and the Hart family will restore it to its glory and whatnot. And then we have this match. And then You have Natty win it. And again, in the background, the Money in the Bank for the ladies is Carmella, and we have absolutely nothing of her all night long. Nothing. She was on the pre-show. She was dressed for competition, and we get nothing. I don't understand it. Not even to come out and tease Natalya. But it would make no sense, because now you have a heel champion and a heel Money in the Bank contract holder. Everything is fucking screwed up. I do not understand the thought process. This was a fucking failure of a show. Failure of a show. Congratulations to Natty. It's like I said, it's not about that. It's about how they are going about things. How they're not giving anything room to breathe. And how they're just killing their champions for no reason. Naomi's been pinned way too many times as champion as it stands already. And now she gets submitted to the sharpshooter and loses her title. For what? For what? Why not allow her to be a dominant champion? Continue to take people down so that you build her up, and then you have a champion face somebody that you built up. You don't just rest on the background and her bloodline, which you can do in the case of Natalya. It's what they're trying to do with Tamina. Well, she's Jimmy Snuka's daughter, so she's great. She's not great. She's good. There's room to be great. There was no reason to take this championship away from Naomi right now. I don't understand it. It was fucking nonsense. 3 matchups on the pre-show, 2 of which were championship title matches. That in alone is a fucking shame. It's a goddamn shame. And to piggyback off of that, the fans, much like you and I, don't give 2 shits about the pre-show. So when you tell us the pre-show starts at 5, do you think the arena is going to be full at 5 o'clock? Do you think you're going to have anybody there at 5 o'clock? Of course not. We're not going to sit there for 2 hours and wait to sit for another 4 hours. It's not going to happen. People are going to arrive a little bit late because they know the pre-show's going on and they don't give a fuck about it. They're going to go get their hot dogs. They're going to buy their merch. They're going to have to find parking. They're not going to rush the arena unless it's almost 7 p.m. And then to top it all off, not only do you start the show with nobody in the fucking arena, literally almost no one, you keep making sure to show us at home that the fans are outside. It was like desperation. It came off very desperate to me by the pre-show crew. It was like, oh, well, the fans are filing in. You know, the fans are filing in. And then they will cut to the shot of the fans standing completely still. Obviously being held back by security. You can see it. Go back and check it out for yourself. Nobody's moving forward. Nobody's fucking filing in. Everybody's standing around. Looked like they weren't letting them in the building. Because even the security knew that 5 p.m. was too early to start this fucking show. They should have been letting people in that arena from 4 o'clock. How are the fans still filing in? Was everybody stuck on fucking trains like everybody else was? Getting to 205th? Was it because of the subway system? Can you blame the traffic of New York on the hot fucking disgusting summer day that it was? No! You can't blame that. You know why? Because you cut to the outside, where there were thousands of fans standing in the blistering sun waiting to get into the arena. And you show this. And then you got the balls to say the fans are filing in. You see nobody walking down the steps. The whole entire outside perimeter of the ring, the VIP section, was not fucking full. You see all the reserved tickets on the seat. You don't see people in the seat. And you make Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy go out to nothing? How many fans came to that show and didn't even realize that they missed the Hardy Boys by the time the night was over? Some of those fans came just to see the Hardy Boys. Just to see broken Matt Hardy. Even though he was in a stupid, useless 6-man that wasted the Intercontinental Championship. To which the Miz Taraj would win anyway. Disgusting. That title was not up for grabs, obviously, and that was a fucking waste of the Superstars, the Intercontinental Championship, and the time of the fans. Because all of us watching at home were more taken back by the fact that there's nobody there. If you look in the crowd, there's maybe like 100 people in there, tops. How did those 100 people get in? And you got those ones outside at the main entrance standing around. And you see the security goons in their fucking penguin suits standing there. No, stop. This show has started. There are wrestlers in the ring wrestling. Why are you not letting them in? And then all of a sudden they cut to them again, and you see people finally now look like they're moving towards the entrance of the building. That was an absolute fucking embarrassment. An embarrassment. And sure, these guys are used to wrestling in front of crowds of 100 people, 50 people, 10 people. But not in a 30,000 seat arena. An absolute fucking disgrace. At least by the time they got to the 2 championship matches, the fans actually were filing in. And all of a sudden there were fans around. And by the time we got to the end of the World Tag Team Championship match, and the Usos would defeat the New Day, you got a relatively decent pop. But the crowd was still only half full. Disgraceful. And then you have Neville win back the Cruiserweight Championship on the pre-show as well. Why even take it from him? Why? You made Tozawa look like a fool. Grab a fucking shovel out for him. The 3-day champion. Why? Why? Why bother? Why even have that fucking match on SmackDown? Why not scrap it from the SmackDown show and just let it be? Do it at SummerSlam. Let Tozawa win at SummerSlam. Make it bigger. And then have Neville get mad and come back at him at a SmackDown in a couple of weeks. Plan the rematch for the next pay-per-view, and then you give it back to Neville. Then at least let the guy have a fucking minute with it. Not do this. Not that I love Tozawa that much that I need to defend the guy, but it's just fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. What else is there to talk about? Other than the main event, which was great. It was refreshing to me the way this match started off. And Braun motherfucking Strowman is a goddamn masterpiece. He is a beautiful, beautiful beast. And I love him for everything that he did in that Fatal 4-Way last night. The way he destroyed Brock Lesnar, the 2 power slams through the table, tossing the other table on top of him, everything that happened up until that moment was fucking golden. And then the problems begin. You come out and you take Brock Lesnar out of the equation. You stretcher the Universal Champion, put him out on a stretcher, roll his gigantic ass out. Paul Heyman is freaking out, and take him out of the match. Why would you do this? There's only 2 reasons why. One, to make sure Brock takes a break, because God forbid he goes more than fucking 5 minutes total time. He needs a break, so take him out this way. He can take a breather, shower up, take a drink of water, let him get ready, let him rub out his muscles, stretch his fucking giant back out, maybe he retouches up his friggin' knife tattoo, whatever he had to do in that amount of time. Because if you didn't know he was coming back, you're a moron. Straight up. Anybody that really believed we were going to have a new champion the minute he left, you're stupid. You've never watched wrestling before. They only take people away on stretchers in the middle of the match when they're going to come back at the end of the match. It's a very common thing in wrestling. So are you surprised when Brock Lesnar came back out? No. But you were happy about it because you didn't want anybody else to win the title unless you're a Roman Reigns fan or a Samoa Joe. I mean, you didn't want it to go down tonight. If you have any respect for pro wrestling, you did not want that title to change hands tonight. You want Brock Lesnar to hold it. I don't care that he's a part-timer and that he's going to go away again and whatever. We never seen Hulk Hogan when we were growing up. You feel like you did, but we never seen him. He was the champ. He was only around during special occasions and pay-per-views. And when you did see the champ, it made it special. And that's what they're doing with Brock Lesnar, and I don't really mind it. Sure, it gets annoying because, we never see the championship, but he's the fucking champ. He can do what he wants. There's nobody there that can fight Brock Lesnar other than these 3 guys. And you're planning that match all at once at SummerSlam, so what else are you going to do with Brock Lesnar? Leave him alone. Let him stay home, let him train. He's a champ. He needs to train. He's to defend his title. I don't mind it. I don't care. Because what's going to end up happening is what we've all been saying here on YouTube, is that he's going to end up going one-on-one with either Braun Strowman or Samoa Joe. And if either one of these men beat Brock Lesnar in a one-on-one contest, no matter what the stipulation may be, they get 100% of the rub off of Brock Lesnar and become the man. Braun Strowman definitely is deserved of that spot. Samoa Joe, we've talked at length on this show, almost to the point of blueness in our face, that he is legitimate Universal Championship material. Where we go from here, nobody knows. But my problems stand mainly in that. And then once you take Brock Lesnar out of the equation, it's the Roman Reigns show. Why? Why? Why still do this? The guy hit maybe 25 Superman punches between the three other combatants altogether, about a dozen spears, and absolutely nothing else. I don't remember seeing a Samoa drop, or a power slam, or a body slam. It was just clothesline, Superman punch, spear. Clothesline, Superman punch, spear. Clothesline, Superman punch, spear. Ooh, 9 times in the fucking match. Are you kidding me? For what? To make everybody mad? Then in the end, you get Brock Lesnar coming back. Much to everybody's pleasure, ends up defeating Roman Reigns in the ring, 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar remains your champion, just like I told you he would. And onward we go. If I missed anything, it's not worthy of even being talked about. We talked about all the championships changing hands. And that in and of itself does not make SummerSlam fucking special. Because we had 5 title changes in 8 championship matches. Because the biggest disappointment of the night would come in the decision on how Shinsuke Nakamura would lose. And I can't believe I almost was about to end this show without talking about it. But I don't want to talk about it. Because it only proves to me that SmackDown is a fucking failure. That Vince McMahon is absolutely fucking clueless, and whoever is in charge of the World Heavyweight Championship storyline needs to be shot in the fucking head. And immediately removed from the planet, never mind the company. Because you have something super special in the King of Strong Style. Somebody who in NXT did not lose until he came face to face with a monster in Samoa Joe. Somebody who is built properly, who has an aura around them, who has a superstar, rock star entrance, who is a guaranteed money-making phenomenon for this company. He has debuted on the main roster and has not lost yet. But you give him his first main roster defeat by allowing him to be pinned in the ring by Jinder Mahal because of his 2 Oompa Loompa midget friends. That is the laziest and most disgusting, disrespectful, disgraceful booking of Shinsuke Nakamura I ever seen. It absolutely proves to me that Vince McMahon does not know what he has. He has no business taking anybody from New Japan and bringing them to this piece of shit show that he's producing, because he does not even know what they are worth. He does not know how to book tremendous superstars. If he didn't create you, he doesn't care about you. And you came in as Shinsuke Nakamura. That's the name you've made around the world. Everybody knows you. So I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to call you the artist. We're not going to call you the King of Strong Style. Oh, and by the way, you're going to lose to Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. He's going to pin your fucking shoulders to the mat. If I was Shinsuke Nakamura, I would have walked out of the company. Fuck you. Fuck your contract. Fuck whatever money I'm going to lose. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to make 10 times more fucking money than you're offering me, and I'm going to actually wrestle. And I'm going to wrestle great guys, and we're going to tell great stories, and we're going to have great shows over there in New Japan. Because what you're doing over here is a goddamn nightmare. And not a good nightmare like me. A fucking terrifying, cold sweat-inducing, pillow-soaking, sheet-wet nightmare. Who the fuck is Jinder Mahal to deserve to pin one of, if not the greatest Japanese superstar on the planet right now? A man that can legitimately beat Brock Lesnar. A man that can legitimately kick the teeth down the throat of every single person on that roster. There is a handful of people, not even a handful. There's about 3 guys on that roster that can beat Shinsuke Nakamura. 3. And nobody else should even be coming close. Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. These are the 3 men who should be allowed to beat a superstar the caliber of Shinsuke Nakamura. These guys and these guys alone. And now you got Brock and Joe over on Raw. So you only have AJ Styles on the same show as Shinsuke Nakamura right now, before they probably are going to ruin this whole thing with the fucking shakeup. And that is the only scenario in which Shinsuke Nakamura loses. Shinsuke Nakamura losing to Jinder Mahal is like Hulk Hogan losing to the Brooklyn Brawler. It is a fucking disgrace. This guy came out walking into the fucking office one day looking like a walking fucking erection, and then Vince McMahon got one of his own and said, "Oh, he's a world champion. We gotta push him, Kevin Dunn. Look at his fucking veins. He looks like my cock. I need to push him." And here we are. This man is beating Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't care that he's cheated to win every single fucking time. It's a disgrace in itself because, you know, Ric Flair and all the great heels of all time, you cheat to win, sure, when you need the advantage. You don't cheat to win every single time. Ric Flair can also go down and beat Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in 60 minutes in a fucking 2 out of 3 falls or an Iron Man or any type of stipulation, submission, anything, and will win legit without horseman interference, without pulling knucks from his tights, anything. Although he would also do that in other situations. Or they would attack the people in the back before the match. There are times and places where you do these things. You don't do it every single time. But that is not my issue. My issue is that you allowed him to pin Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura should have won this match by disqualification. Jinder could have remained the champ. You could book however it is you're planning to book in the future the same exact way. So Jinder would have retained. Shinsuke should have won by count out, by disqualification, somehow. Allow Jinder to retain the belt if that's what's so fucking important to you, that you have the belt around a walking penis. But no, you sacrifice, you damage the legacy of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Somebody who you don't deserve. You do not deserve to have Shinsuke Nakamura on your roster. Kenny Omega is over in NJPW laughing his ass off at the fact that he knows he's not coming here because that's his future. He's going to come to the WWE. He's going to start fucking losing to Jinder Mahal. He's going to be the catalyst for the rise of Heath Slater, since he's the only member now of 3MB that has never worn championship gold. I can't take it. I can't take it, you guys. SummerSlam was a fucking shame. Absolute disgusting show as far as the booking. The wrestling, I will be fair, the wrestling was decent for most of the night. Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor, they had a good match. The Raw Tag Team Championship, a good match. Alexa, Sasha, good match. All the outcomes of the night were either predictable or absolute bullshit. 5 championship title matches with a change does not make a fantastic show. It doesn't. I would have much rather had one relevant, hard-fought title match with a title change that means something after a few weeks of build and a nice little rivalry getting underneath it, than have 5 out-of-nowhere title changes that make absolutely no sense and mean nothing and changes nothing on the roster. It changes nothing except makes it worse. The only positive change that really happened was the Usos getting the SmackDown World title back. That's it. Outside of that, every other decision was absolute nonsense, or you already seen coming. Fucking Summer Shame 2017. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. We are going to wrap it up on that. If you liked this show, not my show, if you liked this fucking show, Summer Shame, please don't watch my show. Or, I mean, if you could enjoy the wrestling, like I said. But if you think everything that I just said is bullshit, and you think I'm just some angry internet mark, and you think that everything I say is fucking not true, then you don't watch wrestling with true wrestling eyes. And if all you want to do is argue with me and come against me and tell me I'm wrong, I don't have time for you. So keep your opinions to yourself. If you're going to piss me off, I don't know. I'm just trying to be fucking funny there. I don't know. I've heard so many people and seen so much online about people who are praising this as one of the best SummerSlams ever. This is easily one of the worst pay-per-views of the year. Easily! With the Fatal 4-Way match being the exception to the card. That's it. But like I said, even that was not without its problems. That's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am Nick Nightmare. This is Blue the Snowball Microphone. And we are out of here. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Right here on the one and only Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. We'll see you next time.